Welcome back to the Daily Crypto Report, where we break down the stories behind the people shaping our world. In today's video, we're diving deep into the life of Jerome Powell, one of the most influential figures in global finance today. If you've ever wondered why his decisions move markets or who he is beyond the headlines, stick around because we're covering everything. From his upbringing to his career journey and his role as the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Let's start with the basics. Who is Jerome Powell? Jerome Hayden Powell, often called Jay by those close to him, is the current chairman of the Federal Reserve, a position he's held since 2018. As Fed chair, Powell oversees the Central Bank of the United States, making critical decisions about monetary policy, interest rates, and the economy. His words can cause stock markets to soar or plummet, which shows just how much influence he wields. But who is Jerome Powell beyond the role? To understand the man behind the title, we need to look at his early life and what shaped him into the leader he is today. Jerome Powell was born on February 4, 1953, in Washington, D.C. He grew up in a well-off, tight-knit family with 6 siblings. His father, Jerome Powell Sr., was a lawyer, and his mother, Patricia Hayden Powell, was deeply involved in the family's life, emphasizing education and discipline. Powell attended prestigious schools in the D.C. area, including Georgetown Preparatory School, where he excelled academically and developed an early interest in public service. After high school, Powell pursued higher education at Princeton University, where he majored in political science. His time at Princeton was formative. He honed his analytical thinking skills and developed a broader understanding of political and economic systems. He graduated in 1975 and later earned his law degree from Georgetown University Law Center in 1979. While law was his initial career path, it wasn't long before Powell ventured into the world of finance, where he would ultimately make his mark. Powell's career began in law, working as an attorney at a major firm in New York City. However, he quickly realized his interests aligned more with economics and finance. In the 1980s, he transitioned into investment banking, joining Dillon Rad and Company, a prominent Wall Street firm. This move was pivotal. Powell immersed himself in the complexities of financial markets, gaining hands-on experience in capital markets, mergers and acquisitions, and corporate finance. His time on Wall Street gave him a deep understanding of how the financial system works, a skill set that would later prove invaluable at the Federal Reserve. But Powell's career wasn't just about Wall Street. He also stepped into public service during the George H.W. Bush administration, serving as Undersecretary of the Treasury for Domestic Finance from 1990 to 1993. In this role, he dealt with critical issues like government debt markets and banking policy. His ability to navigate the intersection of finance and policy earned him respect across political and professional circles. After his stint in government, Powell returned to the private sector, holding senior positions at various investment firms. He also worked at the Bipartisan Policy Center, where he focused on fiscal policy and debt reduction. This blend of private and public sector experience gave him a unique perspective on economic issues, making him a prime candidate for leadership roles in monetary policy. In 2012, President Barack Obama appointed Powell to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. Though a Republican, Powell's moderate stance and willingness to work across the aisle made him a unifying figure. He quickly became known for his pragmatic approach, focusing on data-driven decisions rather than ideological battles. So how did Powell become the chairman of the Federal Reserve? In 2017, President Donald Trump nominated Powell to replace Janet Yellen as Fed chair. The Senate confirmed him with bipartisan support, and he officially took office in February 2018. As chairman, Powell has faced significant challenges, from navigating trade wars to responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. His leadership during the pandemic was especially notable. Powell implemented aggressive measures, including slashing interest rates to near zero and launching massive asset purchase programs to stabilize the economy. These actions helped prevent a deeper financial crisis, but also sparked debates about inflation and economic inequality. Now let's talk about why Jerome Powell has so much influence on interest rates and the global economy. As Fed chair, Powell leads the Federal Open Market Committee, or FOMC, which sets monetary policy in the U.S. This includes decisions on interest rates, which affect everything from mortgage rates to credit card debt. When the Fed raises interest rates, borrowing becomes more expensive, slowing down economic activity. Conversely, lowering rates makes borrowing cheaper, stimulating growth. These decisions are critical for controlling inflation and ensuring economic stability. Powell's ability to communicate these policies clearly is essential because markets react not just to what the Fed does, but also to what it says it might do in the future. Powell's speeches and press conferences are closely watched by investors, economists, and policymakers worldwide. A single word or phrase can move trillions of dollars in global markets. This is why Powell's influence extends far beyond the U.S. His decisions impact economies across the globe. Despite his significant role, Powell has faced criticism. Some argue that the Fed's policies under his leadership have contributed to asset bubbles and rising inequality. Others believe he's been too slow or too aggressive in responding to inflation. Regardless of these debates, there's no denying that Powell's leadership has shaped the modern financial landscape. On a personal note, Powell is known for being approachable and pragmatic. He's married to Alyssa Leonard, and they have 3 children. The family values privacy but is occasionally spotted in the Washington, D.C. area. Powell is also an advocate for education and frequently emphasizes the importance of data and research in making decisions. Outside of work, Powell is described as down-to-earth and humble. He's known to enjoy biking and spending time with his family. Despite his high-profile position, Powell often credits teamwork and collaboration for the Fed's success. So what's next for Jerome Powell? His term as Fed chair is set to continue through 2026, and he remains focused on navigating the challenges of inflation, economic recovery, and financial stability. Whether you agree with his policies or not, there's no denying that Powell's influence will shape economic policy for years to come. And that's a wrap on today's deep dive into the life of Jerome Powell. From his early days in Washington, D.C. to leading the Federal Reserve, Powell's story is a testament to the power of expertise and perseverance. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. Have any thoughts or questions? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay informed and stay curious.